Thanksgiving morning, Mom called. We reserved a kids' table for your brother's kids, no room for yours. Dad added, it's best if you don't come. I said understood, paused their $2,300 rent payment, and stayed home. Hours later, 81 missed calls and a 1:33 a.m. voicemail from Dad left me speechless. I'll never forget that Thanksgiving morning. The smell of pancakes was still in the air when my parents dropped a bomb on me, a betrayal so deep it still makes my stomach clench. There's no space for your kids at Thanksgiving dinner. And just like that, everything shattered. See, my name's Grant. I'm 33, the oldest kid, and yeah, I'm a janitor at the local high school. Night shift, the smell of bleach on my hands, keys jangling on my belt, and a cheap thermos I picked up at a yard sale. My life isn't glamorous, but it's mine. I've got two amazing kids, Mia, she's 8 and obsessed with drawing foxes, and Theo, 5, who calls every single bird he sees a chicken. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment above a laundromat, so some days it smells like warm detergent, other days, burned socks. In my family, I've always been the reliable one. Which, translated, means I'm the one who shows up, fixes things, and pays for everything when it breaks. That Thanksgiving morning, it was 7:14 a.m. My phone lit up while I was wrestling pancake batter into a lopsided turkey shape. It was Mom. I wiped my hands on a dish towel, a little excited, you know? It's Thanksgiving. Grant, she said, her voice thin and cheerful in that way she always used right before a big request. Quick thing about today, we reserved a kids' table for your brother's kids. Cute, right? But there's just no space for yours. I just stood there, spatula dripping batter onto the counter. No space for my kids. It's just, there are 8 little ones already, she went on. And Mia gets particular. You know how she is with food touching? It just makes everyone so tense. I swallowed hard. So, where would Mia and Theo sit? A long pause. Then Dad's voice, suddenly cutting in, like he'd been waiting on speakerphone for his cue. We talked it through, son. We all agreed. It's best if you don't come. Keeps the peace. Just then, Mia tugged on my sleeve, her eyes bright. Is Nana excited for my fox drawing? I quickly put a hand over the phone's mic. 1 second, bug. Then back to the call. Best if we don't come? I repeated, the words feeling foreign, sharp. Don't take it personal, Dad said, his tone flat. You understand how family dynamics are. I looked at the kitchen calendar. There was a sticky note there, bring rolls plus pie. I'd already paid for the bakery order. I'd already arranged my shift swap. I took a slow, deep breath, just like my old counselor taught me. Understood, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Good, Dad replied, the word landing heavy, like a door slamming shut. We'll make you a plate. Don't, I said, and just hung up. Mia was still looking at me. Are we still going? I flipped off the burner. Steam rose, then faded into nothing. We're making our own Thanksgiving, I told her, forcing a smile, but something in my chest cracked like thin ice. I put my phone face down. It buzzed again, but I didn't look. I buttered pancakes, cut one into a fox shape for Mia, and tried not to think about the folding table in my parents' dining room, the neat place cards Mom always wrote, the tiny paper turkeys from the dollar store Theo would have loved. I told myself I'd feel better after breakfast. I didn't. Here's the part people never see, the messy truth that never fits into a cute family photo. For 2 years and 11 months, I'd been paying my parents' rent. $2,300, autopay, on the first of every month. It started as a temporary bridge. Dad lost hours at work, then couldn't catch up, then their landlord raised the rent. Every month, I told myself it would be the last. And every month, I watched that little green checkmark in my banking app, a grim ritual. I felt trapped. Mom would always say, you're the steady one, Grant. Dad would add, it's what family does. My brother, Brett? He'd text things like, you're a legend, man. Drinks on me when I'm up. Brett has 3 kids with 2 different women and a new business idea every quarter. He also has the passwords to my Netflix, my Prime, my old gym membership, and apparently, he had the password to my parents' calendar, because his events always took priority. People hear janitor and think I'm barely scraping by. I'm not. I have pride in my work. I love seeing clean hallways and sparkling floors. I love the quiet hum of the building after midnight, knowing which light switch controls which stubborn fixture. But I'm not a bank. And every extra hour I worked scrubbing gym floors in summer, cleaning up after graduation, tackling the moldy storage room nobody else would touch, I did it with a number echoing in my head, 2300. 2300. 2300. When Mia was born, I sold my guitar to buy a car seat. When Theo arrived, I learned to rebuild a vacuum from YouTube tutorials. My parents, they saw I knew how to stretch $1, so they just stretched me. You owe us, Mom said once, not angry, just matter of fact. We kept a roof over your head. I was a kid, I replied. Exactly, she said, like she'd won an argument. Brett, meanwhile, floated from job to job. He'd post selfies in greasy gloves with grind time captions when he landed at the auto shop. 3 weeks later, he'd post a meme about toxic workplaces when he quit. He calls me Big G when he wants something. Otherwise, I'm just Grant, especially when he told a cousin I was overdramatic about money. Last Thanksgiving, I bought the turkey and the ham. Mom even texted me a list of brands. Don't get the cheap cranberries, she wrote, as if she was saving me from myself. I smiled and bought the good ones. I brought extra ice and a giant roll of trash bags, because the year before, we ran out and Dad had said, well, you're the janitor. In September, Mom asked if I could float Brett half the childcare for a weekend so he could attend a networking event. I sent her $120 and told myself it was for the kids. In October, she called at 10 p.m. The car insurance is late. Your father forgot, she said, like she was telling me the mail was delayed. I paid it. I was putting off my own dentist appointment, chewing only on the right side of my mouth. When I pushed back, they tightened the script. You're being selfish, Mom said. You think you're better than everyone? Dad asked. Bro, money comes back, Brett texted. Vibes don't. 2 weeks before that devastating call, Mom rang me from the baking aisle. We're doing name cards this year, she chirped. Brett's kids are the cutest. They'll love it. Mia overheard, then made her own place card with glitter glue and a wonky heart over the eye. We put it on the fridge. Look, Dad, she'd said, pointing, I'll sit there. I told her we'd all be together. I believed it, because believing hurts less than admitting your family has a favorite word for you, resource. Small rips in the fabric had appeared even before that phone call. Mom forgot to add Mia and Theo to the group photo plan, then just wrote, we'll squeeze them in. Brett posted in the family chat, kids' table is going to be lit. I replied with a thumbs up and a turkey emoji, sitting on my hands, fighting the urge to say something. The night before Thanksgiving, I worked a short shift, cleaning the gym after a pep rally. On my way out, Coach slipped me a foil-wrapped plate. You got family tomorrow? He asked. Yeah, I said, trying to sound normal. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad, bring the rolls and pie, pecan if you can. And don't be late this time. Last year, I'd been late because the checkout line was insane. He'd mentioned it at every holiday since. At home, I set my alarm for 6:30, pulled the bakery receipt from my wallet, and stuck it under a magnet, a plastic chicken that Theo loves. He thinks it's a turkey. Gobble, he says, and it's funny every time. Then Thanksgiving morning happened. No space for yours. It's best if you don't come. You understand? I hung up and tried to make pancakes into foxes. Mia smiled at the first one, then asked if Nana would like it. I said, Nana loves everything you make. It wasn't a lie. Nana loves in a big, general way. She just loves the wrong things more. I spent the morning mixing batter and swallowing a fury that tasted like metal. At 10:02, Brett texted me a photo of his twins at the kids' table, paper crowns on, tongues dripping orange soda. Family, he wrote, with 3 heart emojis. I watched that word sit on my cracked screen like it had nothing to do with me. At 10:23, the group chat dinged. Aunt Lisa, can someone pick up extra ice? Dad, Grant can. Mom, he's coming later. Brett, LOL. True. I didn't reply. I put my phone in the cutlery drawer and shut it gently, like I was tucking a sleeping animal into a dark, safe place. At noon, Mia asked if we should dress up. I said yes. She wore her fox shirt. Theo put on his dinosaur tie. I pulled on the only shirt I iron, the one with the stubborn collar that always tilts. We ate at our small table. I set a paper towel under the bowl like a table runner because Mia said it looks fancy that way. Right before we ate, Mom called again. I didn't pick up. I heard the voicemail ding. I didn't listen. Back then, it was just noon, and I was still telling myself that being excluded was a misunderstanding that could be cleaned up with the right mop. But at 10:07 p.m., I opened the cutlery drawer, pulled my phone out, and saw it: 14 missed calls, 11 texts, and a photo of a long table covered in casseroles, green beans, sweet potatoes, those canned cranberry slices wobbling in perfect circles. Dad, where are you? Bring the rolls. Mom, Grant, this is childish. Brett, bro, don't make it weird. I typed and erased 3 drafts. Then I did the thing I do at work when a spill spreads in every direction. I drew a line. In the family chat, I wrote, "We're not coming. You told me there's no space for my kids. There's space here." I attached a photo of Mia and Theo at our little table, paper towel runner and all. No guilt, no pleading, just fact. A minute later, my phone rang. Dad. I declined. Mom. Declined. Brett. Declined. Then the messages turned. Mom, you're punishing us. Classic. Dad, your attitude is exhausting. Brett, bro, you're blowing up the whole vibe. I typed, I've covered your rent for 35 months. I've bought the past 3 holiday dinners. I have the receipts. Today, I'm feeding my kids. Silence, then a rush. Mom, we never asked you to. Dad, this is a day for family, not for accounting. Brett, did you just say receipts? I didn't answer. I opened my banking app. My thumb hovered over the toggle I'd never touched, autopay parents' rent. I stared for a long moment. It felt like standing at the end of a hallway with the lights off, knowing where the switch is, but not sure what the lights will show when you flip it. I closed the app without touching it. Not now, I told myself. Not out of anger. Eat with the kids. Watch the parade. Take a walk. Decide when your hands aren't shaking. We ate. Theo asked if the giant balloon turkey was heavier than our car. Mia asked if Nana was mad. I said, Nana is busy. By evening, the parade rerun had turned into a football game nobody in our house cared about. I made cocoa. We built a blanket fort. We fell asleep in it, all 3 of us, under string lights, the kind I picked up from the clearance bin in July. At 9:18 p.m., my phone vibrated on the coffee table. Then 9:34. Then 10:02. I kept ignoring it. At 11:47, a text from Aunt Lisa, "You okay?" I thumbed back, "We're good. Thanks." At 12:51 a.m., I woke up to my phone buzzing relentlessly, so many missed calls that the lock screen font looked smaller to make them all fit. 81, my stomach went cold. Then, at 1:33 a.m., a new voicemail appeared from Dad. I stared at it for a long time. Then I pressed play. His voice was low, slurred, or tired, I couldn't tell. "You listen to me," he said. "You think you're some hero because you mop floors and throw money around? You're not family if you don't fall in line. You hear me? Not family." The room felt very quiet. The string lights hummed. Theo snorted a little. Mia's hand was curled around my sleeve. Not family. I didn't cry. Something else happened, like a latch sliding into place. The line was drawn. I didn't have to argue anymore, or explain, or produce a single receipt. I didn't have to give. I just had to stop. I sat up, careful not to wake the kids, and opened the banking app. The toggle was still there, small and green, like a lie. I tapped it. Autopay paused. A prompt popped up. Are you sure? I pressed yes. It wasn't anger anymore. It was clarity, clean and simple, like the first pass of a mop across a muddy floor. When the water shows you what the tile actually looks like. Morning smelled like cocoa leftovers and blanket dust. Sun through the blinds made thin bars across Theo's dinosaur tie on the floor. I brewed coffee in the chip machine that sighs like an old dog when it pours. Mia stirred, hair stuck to her cheek. Is it today again? She asked, which is her way of asking if things are normal. It's today, I said. We're going to the park. My phone lay face down. I turned it over and skimmed. More texts piled up in a weird tower. Mom, call me ASAP. Dad, we need to talk about consequences. Brett, you know the landlord is calling, right? You better not be screwing them like that. I didn't answer. I made scrambled eggs. Theo called them cloud eggs. He ate two and asked for another. I felt the guilt flare, my reflex for years, and watched it go out like a match in wind. I didn't owe them an explanation. They owed my kids a seat at a table. At 9:22 a.m., a number I didn't recognize called. Voicemail. Hi, this is Jose from Maple Gardens Apartments. We're following up on the rent for Unit 2B. His voice was polite, tired. I imagined his desktop full of sticky notes. I wrote the number on a paper and set it aside. At 10:15, Aunt Lisa again. They're scrambling, she said. Your dad is loud. Your mom keeps saying it's a misunderstanding. I'm not taking sides, but I see you. I called her back. I don't want you in the middle, I said. I've been in the middle since your brother learned to speak, she said, a small, sad laugh escaping her. Are the kids okay? They're fine, I said, and realized it was true. They were playing, building a couch cushion boat. She lowered her voice. Your dad said, not family, didn't he? I didn't answer. She exhaled. Okay, then. You do what you need to do. At 11:03, Mom called again. I answered. A first for the day, I said. Finally, she snapped, the word stretched. We had a scare this morning. Your father thought you'd, well, never mind. Listen, about yesterday, everyone was overwhelmed. You know how Brett's kids get. It was better to keep your two out of the chaos. Better for who? I asked, my voice calm. For everyone, she said. You overreacted, and now the rent. This is petty. It's money I make cleaning other people's messes after midnight, I said. It's not petty. We counted on you, she said. We built our budget around you. I know, I said. That's the problem. She inhaled, a warning. You're going to regret this. Blood is blood. I looked at Mia. She was sticking stickers to the floor, counting them. 1 fox, 2 fox, 3 fox. Theo was giving his stuffed dinosaur a pep talk about bravery. Blood is blood, I thought. And then I thought about that 1:33 a.m. voicemail, and decided definitions can change. We're done, I said. When you're ready to talk about my kids like they are part of this family, you can call. Until then, talk to the landlord. She hung up with a scoff. A minute later, Brett. Bro, what did you do? They're freaking out. You can't just stop. That's wild. I typed, we can talk when you delete my kids' names from the list you never wrote. He replied with 10 crying, laughing emojis. And then, you're making this about the kids like a manipulator. Classic. I put the phone in a drawer again. At noon, we walked to the park. The sky was brittle blue, the kind that makes everything sharp. The swings squeaked. A dad in a bomber jacket pushed a toddler, saying higher, in a voice that carried 10 ways of saying love. Nia drew a fox in the dirt with a stick. Theo collected leaves, naming each one Kevin. On the way home, we stopped at the corner store. Ms. Rivera, behind the counter, smiled at my kids. "You three doing your own Thanksgiving?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Good," she said. "The best kind." Back home, I checked my work email. Custodian's schedule updated. Mr. Patel asked if I could cover a Sunday floor wax. I said yes. I like waxing floors. They shine proof back at you. Effort in, result out. They never tell you you're not family when you do a clean job. By evening, the second wave hit. Extended family. Cousin Jake, they're saying you abandoned them. Uncle Mike, you always had a temper. A message from a number saved as Brett's other number. "This is Shay. He can't afford diapers now because of you. Hope you're happy." I didn't reply. I opened my notes app and started typing dates, amounts, screenshots of transfers labeled rent, car, groceries. I wasn't building a case for them. I was building one for me, to look at when the doubt came like a tide. Around 8:40, Maple Gardens called again. I answered. "Jose," I said. "Hi." He cleared his throat. "We just..." "Look, we had the payment on auto. It bounced. Your father called and said you'd fix it." "I won't," I said. "But I can't imagine it's pleasant to deal with him. I'm sorry." He was quiet. "People think landlords are villains," he said, finally, tired. "I just need the books to balance." "I get it," I said. "I mop glitter out of gym mats for a living." He laughed once, surprised. "Okay," he said. "Thanks for letting me know. I'll talk to them." After we hung up, I stood at the window and watched the laundromat sign blink, open, then a black square, then open again. In the glass, I could see my reflection with two small heads leaned into my sides. We looked like a unit. We looked like a family. Saturday morning, a long message from Dad: "If your goal was to humiliate us, congrats. Everyone knows you left us in the lurch. Your aunt wouldn't stop defending you, which was inappropriate. We didn't say there was no space. We said logistics were tricky. You twisted it." I replayed the voicemail from 1:33 a.m. to remind myself I hadn't imagined anything. A half hour later, another message, shorter, meaner: "You're not family if you don't fall in line." The same sentence. Sober, in daylight. He wanted it on record. Good. Me too. Sunday night, Aunt Lisa sent a photo. Mom and Dad's dining room. Chairs pulled far from the table. Place cards from yesterday still on the plates. One card, a close-up, Brett's kids. The tiny paper turkey menacing in the corner. No cards with Mia or Theo's names at all. I felt the old sadness hit. Then pass. I screenshotted it and put it with the rest. Not to post, not to blast. To remember. Work on Monday was quiet. Hallways echo when the kids are off. I buffed the gym until I could see the lights above me mirrored in the floor like stars. Neat rows. Nobody jostling anyone else. Each light with its own space. I clicked my keys against my belt and thought about space. Tables, voices, boundaries you tape to the floor so people don't cross and call it a misunderstanding. By Wednesday, the noise started to fade. Fewer calls, shorter texts. Brett's last message: "Whatever, man. You'll come crawling back." It read like someone had put a quarter in a machine and wanted the candy to drop, then stood there shaking it when nothing fell. Thursday, Ms. Rivera slipped 2 churros into the bag with our milk. "For the artists," she said, nodding at the Fox drawings Mia now tapes to everything we own. Friday, I cashed out a vacation day I never use and bought a second-hand dining table from a guy on the north side. It had 2 chips and a wobble. I fixed the wobble. I put 3 place settings out and made name cards in my blocky print: Mia, Theo, Dad. Mia added a fox sticker to mine and said, "Now it's perfect." Saturday, Aunt Lisa called. "Your mother is telling people you're in a phase," she said. "I'm in a life," I said. She laughed for real that time, the kind that crinkles your eyes. Sunday, I wrote an email to myself with the subject line, "Rules." I typed 3 things: if you don't respect my kids, you don't get access to me. I don't fund disrespect. I won't argue with people who rewrite the past while I'm still standing in it. I pinned it. When the old reflex reaches for my wallet, I open that email and read it out loud. On the 1st of the next month, the green checkmark didn't appear. The world didn't end. The only thing that ended was a spell I'd been under for a long time. The kind that makes you forget to count yourself. A week after everything, I was stripping wax in the science wing. It's loud work. The machine hums and the chemical smell climbs up your nose. Mr. Patel stopped in the doorway, raised 2 fingers in a salute, and said, "Floors look good, Grant." "Thanks," I said. The hum hid the rest, which was fine. I'm not great at receiving praise, but it landed. At lunch, I sat on the back steps and ate a ham sandwich that was 80% bread. The sky was low and gray. I checked my phone. No new messages from my parents. One from Aunt Lisa, a photo of a plain table at her place with 3 plates and a caption, "Come Sunday." I typed back, "Yes, the kids will bring foxes." That night, Mia fell asleep with a glue stick in her hand. Theo, very serious, said, "I made space for Nana. If she says sorry," and pointed to an empty square he'd drawn between 2 foxes on a page. Children do grace in big, clumsy handfuls. They leave room. I'm learning to leave room too, but not a seat I have to pay for and pretend I'm grateful for. I saved Dad's 1:33 a.m. voicemail. I don't play it. I don't need to. The words are branded in, "Not family." He meant it as a knife. It worked like a key. Here's what I know now, in simple words I can repeat when I'm tired and the old scripts rattle in the drawer with the cutlery. Family isn't a table you're allowed to sit at only if you foot the bill, smile at the insults, and let your kids wait in the hallway. Family isn't a group chat that explodes when you stop sending money. Family isn't understood, said through clenched teeth at 7:14 a.m. Family is Mia sticking a fox on my name card and saying, "Now it's perfect." Family is Theo naming every leaf Kevin and insisting Kevin is brave. Family is Aunt Lisa saying, "I see you." And then actually seeing. Family is a rule you make in your own handwriting and tape to the inside of your wallet so your hands remember. I don't fund disrespect. If my parents ever want to sit at our table, they can. They know the price. It's not $2,300. It's not a pie. It's not diapers for Brett or a new excuse or a quiet apology that trails into a request. The price is a real apology to 2 small humans who colored their own place cards and were told there was no space for them. The price is Dad saying, "I was wrong," without an asterisk. The price is Mom saying, "We won't do that again," and then not doing it again. Maybe that won't happen. Maybe Brett will keep posting. Maybe my parents will keep a seat open for resources and never notice it stays empty. I can live with that. I've got keys. I've got a table. I've got fox stickers. On Thursday, I picked the kids up from school and we stopped at the bakery. Mia pointed to a pecan pie and said, "Can we still have this?" I said, "Yes." We ate it at home. 3 forks, no ceremony. I cut the slices messy. Nobody corrected me. Before bed, I stood in the kitchen with the light off. The city noise muffled by laundry machines downstairs. I thought about all the months I pressed send because love sounded like bills paid on time, because reliable one felt like a personality instead of a leash. I thought about not doing that anymore, and felt something widen in my chest. I'm Grant. I mop floors until they shine. I make fox pancakes badly. I pick up glitter with blue tape because that's the only thing that works. I am the father of 2 kids who deserve more than no space. I am not a resource. I am not a punishment. I am not the villain in someone's story about logistics. I'm the guy who paused a payment at 1:33 a.m. and started a better life at 1:34. I won't let them use me again. I won't teach my kids that love means pain to be tolerated. If my family wants me, they can knock. If they don't, fine. We've got plenty to do. Tables to build, floors to shine, leaves named Kevin to collect. Dad, Mia said from the doorway, her voice sleepy. Tomorrow, can we make the fox pancakes again? Yeah, I said. We'll even save Nana a seat on the drawing. Okay, she said, satisfied, and padded back to bed. I put the bank card back in my wallet, shut the app, and turned off the kitchen light. The apartment went soft and dark. The laundry downstairs hummed like a faraway ocean. I stood there a second longer, then went to tuck my kids in. And that was it. Not revenge, not a scene, just a boundary you could see from the doorway. Neat and bright like a freshly buffed hallway. A place where my kids and I live, not where we beg to be let in.